Boom! What's up, y'all? So, hopefully y'all are doing well. Hopefully you guys are, not guys, hopefully everyone is practicing social distancing, and really doing it, because all you're gonna do is, make somebody else do it, maybe inspire somebody else to do it too. But, man, today's been a really difficult day. Since I woke up, I just went and shot hoops, and everybody's on edge. Even I'm on edge, and it's really making me think. I went and bought those two roommates. The guy that one of my roommate James, who had a heart attack, second heart attack, 7 days ago, and I've been making them juices and smoothies, and it's very difficult to them. I even gifted them the 14-day optimal reset and the grocery list and all that stuff. And these guys are just, Wall 267, and all these guys smoke and, eat a really, unhealthy diet. And Walt just had his surgery, his shoulder surgery at the VA. And it's just, I want to help people, but it's like people got to help themselves. It's like, people ask me for help all the time because maybe they see what it is that I'm doing, how I'm living my life. And so I help them, and, and a lot of times they're like, hey man, I'll pay you for this, I'll pay you that. I'm like, dude, I don't want any of your money. And it's like, everybody wants to pay people for help. And like, you see a lot of these homeless people, and sometimes they get checks, sometimes they get EBT, and every single transition is like, okay, well, I'll spot you 5 here, I'll give you 45 here, I'll fill up your tank here, I'll let you use my food. It's like everybody now even more. It's like tenfold, now that, this corona is going around, and I'm just looking around, I'm like, what are people doing? Everybody's in stress, and everybody is fighting with each other and themselves. And so then I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll just stick to myself. But then when somebody asks me for help, I help them, and there's just a lot of gossip that goes on, and it's like, people gossip out of fear. My family does it, I'm just like, that's one thing that like I've never really like interacted with, is gossip. It's like, you're wasting time, you're wasting energy. If your cup is full, you can gift somebody a favor, you can help someone and not ask anything in return. And then on another hand, on top of that, don't gossip about everybody. And so I went and shot hoops, and this one guy, he's got cancer in his knee, and I'm talking about all vets that I live with. He's got cancer in his knee, telanoma or melanoma or whatever, and his surgery got canceled, and he's retaining water in his knee, and he wants to go shoot hoops in this other place where it's like you have your own apartment. These guys are like getting drunk more than they normally would, because there's no sports entertainment. There's no entertainment to numb them, to actually think about what it is that they're seeing, taking a moment and maybe creating a new idea, creating a new concept, thinking for themselves. And then so all they can do is watch the news, and that's 3 weeks old. They're not even telling you the truth there, and they all have their agenda because they get paid money. Every 7 minutes is like a commercial, so they have all their own agenda, from the mass media all the way to the local news. So these guys are like, they don't know what to think, so they're over drinking. These guys are walking around zombies because they're taking a bunch of meds. And so it's like, I try to relate with everyone, but then it's like, the more I help, the more people gossip, and like, people want to know more about me, and I'm willing to tell them about me. But then it's like, have you ever sensed when you're talking to somebody and they ask you specific questions and then they like use it against you? I've been accused of that, and I'm probably guilty of that many times in my life, but like, I'm recognizing it, and it's just because everybody's out of fear. Everybody's fearful, So anyways, I went and shot hoops, and this guy that wanted to shoot hoops with me, I'm like, all right, we'll use our own basketball, and he wanted me to help his phone, so I ninja flip my purple gloves on. I wear gloves everywhere I go. I didn't want to shoot hoops with my gloves on. And everybody's on the basketball court, they're barbecuing, and it's mainly African Americans, black people. I grew up in the ghetto, y'all. I grew up in the ghetto. I've never had a racist thought up here in my heart. I've never said anything racist ever in my entire life, because I grew up with all Hispanics. And, the more I really think about it, it's like, there's so many people that are still like just super nasty racist. and it shocks me sometimes. Even the people that I'm like, okay, well, I don't really know this person all that well, and they'll say something racist, and I'm like, it makes me infuriated when like people will say that. So this guy, he's an older guy, and he's got this knee injury, and like I'm trying to shoot, but he wants to talk, and I'm gifting him that time, I'm holding that space, and he just wants to talk, and it's all about gossip. I'm like, well, I'm gonna shoot. So he shoots over there, and then he comes up to me and he's like, man, you're really talented. He's like, you're really athletic. He's like, you need to show up for our race. You should go play them. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you show up for our race? What are you talking about? Like, shush. And that instantly like wanted me to throw up. And so I ignored it, and then I just left. I wanted to shoot hoops, get a game with all of them. But then again, I didn't because of social distancing. So then I'm walking home and I'm like, you know what? I have been surrounded by racist human beings my entire life. My dad is racist. He just straight is. My sister is racist. She's probably watching this right now. I'm sorry, you're racist. One of my dad's fiancées, when I was like 8 years old and I had a birthday cake, she used to use the N-word all the time. N-word this, N-word that. And she got little black children as my candles and put them on my cake. And was like, blow out your N candles. And I'm like, and my dad was dating this girl. And I'm like, what is going on? And then all the court systems that I've ever been in, beyond racist and mainly towards black and brown people. When I would get arrested in Arizona, it was super racist towards the Hispanics. And then when I was in South Carolina, when I'd get arrested and I'd be in those courtrooms and there'd be like 80 people waiting to see the judge, and you could just see these judges they have them in the system, and they keep them in their system. And you see, 5 people might have this exact same case, 4 might be black or brown, and then they get like a completely different sentence than the other person. That happened in South Carolina, I saw it. That happened in Arizona. That happened in Alabama, where I was at. I mean, my first wife's father, beyond racist. My second wife's entire family, N-word this, N-word that, N-word this. I'm like, what is going on? And then yesterday when I went to go buy that blender for these 2 guys, I was waiting. I stopped. There was a red light. Everybody's kind of freaking out. I stopped on my bike, and this guy pulled out in front of me, and I like totally, was cautious and took time. And he pulled over, and it was a black guy. He's like, watch where the fuck you're going, honky. And I'm like, and I stopped my bike, I waved at him, and I said, I love you. And then like it shocked him, and he got back in his car and he took off. It's like, this is 2020, and I cannot believe. So I'm going to make it like, and this is why I get why people want to, find their own tribe, even if it's a racist tribe, the Ku Klux Klan. They want to find their own tribe, their own racist tribe, so they could be racist against one race. Or then you have like free-spirited human beings, people that are maybe a little bit enlightened, or a little bit more awakened and more acceptable, or maybe a little bit more educated, that don't have any race issues at all inside of their heart. And so that's why they want to hang out with each other. I get that, but it's like, it's super frustrating when it really, really hurts me when any racist comment, any type of racist behavior, it really hurts me inside. It makes me want to cry. And then when you realize like you've been surrounded by super racist people your whole life, and then when you're trying to have like a friendship with a lot of these vets that need help, and you're giving them the time, you're trying to if they ask you opinion about this, you give them your opinion, but then they start gossiping, and then when they start being racist in front of you, it's like, what's going on? Like, can we get a grip already? It's like, and then it's like tenfold right now because they can't numb themselves. They're not, everything's closed down. So they can't, and I'm telling you, sports entertainment is such a waste of time. It was built in the Roman Empire so people can have entertainment, so they don't pay attention to maybe politics. They don't pay attention to what's fair for humanity. You've got NASCAR, you've got MLB, you've got basketball, you've got the NFL, you've got NCAA, all of this stuff. And it's just for taxes, and it's for people to numb themselves. And then they create teams. It's the LA Dodgers versus the Cleveland Indians, and they get in fights. And it's like people aren't paying attention to what's going on. That's like a form of racism on humanity, is like, my team can fuck up your team, my team's better. It's like this fake masculinity hate stuff, and it's being beyond amplified right now because people don't have that, and so their true colors come out and people don't know how to deal with it. And so now I highly suggest, and I'm going to take my own medicine right now, I am going silent, y'all. I am hitting my yoga mat. I'm gonna meditate for an hour and a half. I'm gonna do my yoga. You know, I'm not gonna miss a day, and I'm gonna double it or triple it. And I am literally just gonna keep to myself. And I am the light. I believe all of us are the light. But I'm gonna walk with the light, and I'm just gonna be the most positive person. You know, and a lot of people criticize me if I don't, you know, say something back, or if I don't agree with whatever they're talking about here, because it's very difficult here. You can't create, you know, you can create these little tribes here, you know, at this homeless shelter, but it's like they act like they're in prison, and in prison it's super racist. It's like, if you're white, you got to stay with the white ninjas. If you're black, you got to stay with the white ninjas. And Asian, it's like, it's so silly. It's like, are we adults? Are we like, can we just like hurry up and just become hybrid humans where we're just, you know, thankful and grateful, and we can just relax and stress and not be so stressed out and not be worrying about so much money and saying hurtful things and just being ugly to people? It's like, this is the perfect time to really just go in and have an optimal reset and decide, you know, what kind of human being you're going to be. You know, I mean, in my opinion, I think our younger generation, you know, the 15, 16-year-olds, they're not nearly as racist as maybe my generation, and not nearly as racist as, you know, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. Let's just talk about the 1900s, the 1800s. They're all old, crusty white dudes that are greedy and racist. And if you look at our politics, if you look at the Senate, if you look at the Congress, if you look at our elected officials that make the rules to divide us, they're all old, white, crusty dudes. And they're all fucking racist. And, you know, racist is universal, you know, but it's just, can we just get a lot less of that? You know, it will make everybody's life so much better, especially in these times. People are still not understanding how bad this pandemic is going to be. People do not get it. This is 74 days I've been studying this now. All the way from Italy, from Spain to Germany. 70% of Germans going to get it. The UK, we're just going to have herd immunization, whatever that word is, where they weren't going to do anything, and they're just going to let everybody get it, the survival of the fittest. And no, just not the 65-year-olds can, you know, die. The 30-year-olds can die. Newborns can die. Men are dying 2 to 1. And I mean, man, 3 weeks from now, y'all, it is going to be crazy. It's going to be like a World War III, and people still aren't taking the precautions of being hygiene and respecting each other. But now what I'm seeing on the streets and just around is people are just being nasty and racist and just very unkind. And it hurts me so bad, because I try so many different things. I've worked so hard for the last 3 years with being sober and celibate and learning new tools where I can serve other people and not chasing, you know, the women, not chasing the money. And I'm 3.5 years strong on this. And, you know, I try to use new tools, and I try to learn new things, and I try to implement them. And it makes it really, really tough when you're not in a healthy environment. And, you know, this is probably going to make me a lot stronger, because, you know, my time is coming. I really hope everybody's time is coming. I hope everybody snaps out of this craziness, unkind, money hungry, greedy, racist concept that we're all got fooled into. If you look at children play, put children play anywhere. You could put them in a parking lot, you could put them in a swimming pool, you could put them in a park. They're not racist. They hug each other. They have pillow fights together. They play on the swing. You know, they have snowball fights. They're not racist. Racism is taught. It's taught. It's so silly. And like these $1 million athletes, our world, these concepts that you know are being crumbled right now. So we need to rebuild brand new concepts. Let's get rid of these $100 million, $200 million, $300 million contracts that these athletes are getting paid to chase a ball. It's silly. Let's pay the teachers. Let's pay the scientists. Let's pay the nurses that money. Those are the real heroes. You know, I don't get it. I don't get it. And it hurts me, and that's why I'm doing this video. So if you're acting that way, or if you see somebody act that way, you know, it's almost like I didn't say anything to the guy that said, hey, you know, you're a really athletic dude, you know, you should go play them and, you know, do good for our race. I was like just blown away. I did not expect that from him, but I didn't take it upon myself to be like, yo, dude, you know, that's really racist. Why'd you say that to me? I just, you know, I kept shooting for about 15 minutes, and then I just, you know, gracefully ninja flipped out of there, and I didn't say anything. So I don't think we need to preach. Maybe I'm preaching to a camera lens right now, so I don't feel like I'm preaching it like anybody in person. But We need to get it together, y'all. We need to get it together. We really, really do. We need to breathe, we need to breathe, we need to breathe, and we need to go within, and we need to heal from our past wounds. Some people are more hurt than other people. Some people aren't as educated as some other people. Some people have mental illness and some people don't. You know, I get so hurt when my dad talks just completely down to my sister. He has helped her a lot over the last 30 years, but in my personal opinion, and it hasn't been in a healthy way. When you're drinking with you're handing money to your daughter and you're drinking with them and doing drugs with them and going to the casinos with them and then bad talking them, and him being the male chauvinistic person that he is. And my dad's a beautiful man. You know, I love my dad. My dad is a beautiful man, but you know, it's like he's always talking shit about my sister, and my sister's always kind of talking shit about everybody. It's like, can everybody just take a break, worry about yourself, and feel your pain? Sit with it. What is going on inside of you, inside of your heart, inside of your mind, inside of your gut, where you have to lash out at other people, especially family? I don't get it. You know, do you feel better when you lash out at people? I've been guilty of that, and I'm working so hard not to do that. But it's like, nobody is where you're at. You know, you have to be ready, you know, to stop smoking cigarettes. You have to be ready to stop putting booger sugar up your nose. You have to be ready to eat healthy. You know, you have to, you know, be ready to, you know, do everything. You can't just expect somebody to do that. So I'm just hoping that this huge pandemic right now that's going on, that's testing human beings, I hope it really makes us wake up and say, yo, Mother Nature is hurting. Mother Nature is suffocating. We are poisoning her. Everybody take a break. Everybody relax and be kind and go within and deal with your shit. And Heather, if I hurt your feelings for saying this, I'm sorry. Dad, if you see this, I'm sorry. It's how I feel. Dad, I highly suggested to you that you should get therapy. He told me that he's a realist, and you know, because it's like people are like, because I've never been to a therapist until now. You know, I've never, you know, dealt with PTSD issues, you know, with sexual issues that I have, you know, substance abuse issues that I have, you know, mental illness, you know, that I have, mental disorders that I have. And so when I do that and I do it real and I do it in person, I find the experts and I go there and I have, you know, appointments 2 or 3 times a week for 4 or 5 months in a row, you know, and then people want to ridicule you that and think that you're weak, but yet they're pointing all those fingers, but then they're not doing the work. And so it's like I will always forgive everyone. Like there's a person right now that, you know, I have forgiven her and, you know, I wish her nothing the best, but I had to protect myself and I had to protect this group. And, you know, I'm not the smartest ninja in the world. Y'all, I'm a pretty rad ninja. Let's just say that. You know, I could be doing a lot of different things, you know, but I'm the happiest I've ever been. Yes, I'm homeless. I'm the most soberest I've ever been. I'm the most mentally strong I've ever been. I'm the most aware that I've ever been. And I have so much more enlightenment to do. And I think that's why people don't put the work in, because look how I had to hit rock bottom, you know, to do this. I could have kept my business going. I could have kept getting on Tinder and sleeping with all of these women. I could have kept going to the casino. I could have kept hustling. I could have kept lying. That shit is not fun. It's empty. You don't even know who you are. You start lying to yourself. That's why people don't want to get help, because it's easier to deflect it. It's easier to put vodka down your throat. It's easier to take pills. It's easier to do ecstasy. It's easier to not deal with it and then blame everybody else. You know, and when you're putting the work and you've got years in, and, you know, people look down on me, even just like strangers, like, oh, he's just another hobo or whatever. It's like, y'all, like, I'm so grateful now. And maybe I have a little bit that I'm doing it right now, but I'm so grateful that I really have a sense that I don't have to explain myself anymore. I feel like I'm not explaining myself now, but I felt like even in the past, even 5 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, I had to keep explaining myself. Like, Tom, like, what's your next move? How are you going to make money? Tom, you know, what are you doing, man? Why don't you come work with me? You know, hey, why don't you, I'm like, no, dude, I'm trying to do this. And when you're walking in the light and you're in a peaceful mood and you're walking around and you're engaging with other people, like when you're super silent, it bothers people. It bothers people a lot when you don't when people end it like, you know what I'm saying? You're like, yeah, I know what you're saying. Or you don't agree with them. If you're just silent and they'll ask you how you're doing and you're like, I'm happy and healthy, thanks for asking, they look at you so weird. Or if they, if they ask you for an opinion and I just say, take care of your body, be kind and harvest self-love. They act like you're like an alien when you say that. And it's the simplest things. It's the simplest things. And I just hope, I don't want to, this is already been, I just hope that in these next 8 months, because this thing is going to last 8 months, and I'm telling you, this virus is going to be at your front door. If you don't think it is now, it's going to be. If it's not there in a week, it's not. It's going to be 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You're going to find a loved one. You're going to know a loved one. It might even be you. So the only thing that you can do is practice clean hygiene, social isolation, and get your immunity right. Get your mind right. Get your muscles right. Get your skin right. Take care of yourself so you're not aching. So you're not walking with, you don't have aches. You don't have stomach cramps. You don't have. You want to be the best human being. You want to be ready for this. You want to be, a soldier. A soldier of the light. You want to be ready for this. So you can help the elderly. You can go shopping for the elderly, whatever it is. And so I just hope this time, where, a lot of the millionaires are going to lose a lot of their money. And so this social class is going to go like this. It's going to be forced to it. You can't bribe a disease. You can't pay a disease off. And so this is unstoppable. So it's going to wake a lot of people up. And hopefully a lot of people have a lot more empathy and a lot more compassion. Because, being homeless like I've been, and just doing the things that I've been, I have, in a lot of ways, purposely put myself in these situations. I didn't have to do any of this. I never had to make a video. I never had to, do any of this. And I'm really glad that I did, because I see and I feel more that I feel the progress that I've made, and that I see through my own eyes and through my own feelings and through my own heart what I see that's going on. Because you can't mask when you're sober and you're not chasing sex. That's another thing. Oh man, a lot of these older guys, that's all they do is talk about sex. And it's just like so chauvinistic. And I meet a lot of women that like talk shit about men, that like belittle men. It's like, it's like, get rid of chasing, women and chasing sex. That just makes you so super weak, in my opinion. It like dilutes you. It's like, so you're going to be a certain way around this certain girl so you can mac with her, or you can get in her pants or whatever. And then all of a sudden you can't be your real self like 2 weeks later. It's just so silly. It's like, what are we doing? Like, make love with yourself, try to be, kind to yourself, and, be celibate. I love being celibate. That was one of my biggest addictions. I've slept with thousands of women. That's disgusting to even say. But now I harness that, and it's like a superpower, because I can be who I am without